Take a moment to look around you. You are likely in a room with bright lights. You might be holding a smartphone or watching this on a high-definition screen. You probably have access to clean water, fast internet, and air conditioning. It is easy to take these things for granted. Now, close your eyes and travel back just 70 years. Imagine a place where none of this existed. In a small corner of the Arabian Peninsula, there was a land covered in endless orange sand. There was no electricity to light the night. There were no paved roads for cars. There were no towering buildings, only the heat of the sun, the smell of the salt sea, and a group of people with a very big hope. Today, that same patch of sand is known as Dubai. It is a world-famous metropolis of shimmering glass, gold, and innovation. It is a place where the world's most successful people gather to trade, live, and create the future. But how did a tiny fishing village with no initial wealth transform into the most luxurious city on the planet? Many people think it was just because of oil. Others think it was pure luck. They are wrong. The real story of Dubai is a story of vision. It is a story of leaders who took massive risks and believed that a desert could be turned into a paradise. In this video, we will explore that impossible journey. We will look at the days of the pearl divers, the struggle of the Great Depression, and the bold decisions that built an empire. This is not just a history lesson, it is a lesson in human potential. While you listen, you will also improve your English vocabulary and comprehension. Let's begin the journey. Before the luxury cars and the five-star hotels, there was only the creek. We must go back to the early 1800s. At that time, Dubai was a modest fishing settlement located on the coast of the Persian Gulf. The only reason people lived there was a natural seawater inlet called Dubai Creek. It provided a place for boats to stay safe from the open sea. The people who lived there were tough. They belonged to the Bani Yas tribe. In 1833, a leader named Sheikh Maktoum bin Bouti led 800 of his people from Abu Dhabi to settle at the mouth of the creek. They wanted a place of their own, a place for trade and independence. This was the birth of the Al Maktoum dynasty, which still rules Dubai today. But life was a constant battle. The summer heat was often over 45 degrees Celsius. There were no refrigerators. Fresh water was so rare that people had to dig deep wells by hand or walk for miles to find a small spring. They lived in simple huts made of palm branches called arish. They had no schools or hospitals. Their lives were tied to three things: camels, dates, and the sea. For a long time, the heartbeat of Dubai's economy was pearl diving. This was a dangerous and exhausting job. Men would spend months at sea on wooden boats called dhows. They would dive to the bottom of the ocean with no oxygen tanks, holding their breath for up to 2 minutes to collect oysters. They hoped to find a perfect pearl that could be sold to merchants from India or Europe. This industry brought a small amount of wealth to the village, but in the 1930s, the world changed. Japanese scientists invented cultured pearls, artificial pearls that were cheaper and easier to produce. Suddenly, no one wanted to buy the natural pearls from Dubai. At the same time, the Great Depression hit the global economy. Dubai became poor almost overnight. Families struggled to find food. There was no oil, no industry, and no backup plan. Many people thought Dubai would disappear back into the sand. But the leaders of Dubai had a different idea. They realized that if they couldn't survive on pearls, they had to survive on trade. In 1958, Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum became the ruler. He was a man of few words but massive ideas. He used to sit by the creek and watch the ships.
He realized that the creek was too shallow for big modern ships. If the ships couldn't enter, trade would die. He made a very risky decision. He borrowed a large amount of money from neighboring countries to dredge the creek, which means making it deeper and wider. People laughed at him. They said, "We are poor. Why are we spending money on a hole in the water?" But Sheikh Rashid was right. As soon as the creek was deepened, massive cargo ships from India and Africa began to arrive. Trade exploded. Dubai became a duty-free hub, meaning they didn't charge high taxes. This made merchants from all over the world want to do business there. Sheikh Rashid famously said, "What is good for the merchant is good for Dubai." In 1966, Dubai finally discovered oil. However, Dubai's oil was very small compared to Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia. Sheikh Rashid knew the oil would run out quickly. He decided to use every penny of the oil money to build things that would last forever: schools, hospitals, roads, and a modern airport. He was preparing the ground for a future that didn't depend on oil. 1971 was a turning point. The British, who had protected the region for years, were leaving. The small states along the coast were vulnerable. Sheikh Rashid of Dubai and Sheikh Zayed of Abu Dhabi met in the desert. They realized that they were stronger together than apart. On December 2, 1971, 6 emirates joined to form the United Arab Emirates, UAE. A 7th joined shortly after. This unity brought stability. While Abu Dhabi used its massive oil wealth to develop the nation's infrastructure, Dubai focused on becoming the business capital of the Middle East. In the late 1970s, Sheikh Rashid announced another crazy project. He wanted to build a massive port in Jebel Ali, about 35 kilometers away from the city center. At the time, it was just empty desert. His advisors told him it was a waste of money. They asked, "Who will go so far into the desert to use a port?" Sheikh Rashid replied, "I am building this for the next 50 years, not for today." Jebel Ali became the largest man-made harbor in the world. To make it successful, Dubai created the Jebel Ali Free Zone, JAFZA. This allowed foreign companies to own 100% of their business without paying taxes. Within years, global giants like Samsung, Sony, and Nokia moved in. This turned Dubai into a global logistics powerhouse. In 1985, Dubai took another step toward the world stage. They launched Emirates Airlines with only 2 rented airplanes. The goal was to make Dubai a bridge between the East and the West. Today, Emirates is one of the world's most prestigious airlines. At the same time, the government realized that if they built luxury, people would come. They started building 5-star resorts and shopping festivals. They turned the desert into an exotic adventure and the coastline into a luxury playground. They were no longer just a trading village, they were a global brand. In 2006, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum became the ruler. He wanted to take his father's vision and make it even bigger. He didn't just want Dubai to be a good city, he wanted it to be the best city. He launched projects that the world thought were impossible. The most famous is the Burj Khalifa. Construction began in 2004. The goal was to build the tallest structure ever made by humans. Over 12,000 people worked on it every day. When it opened in 2010, it stood at 828 meters. It wasn't just a building, it was a symbol of Arab pride and modern engineering. Another impossible project was Palm Jumeirah. Since Dubai has a small coastline, they decided to build more land in the shape of a palm tree. They used millions of tons of sand and rock from the seafloor. Today, it is home to thousands of people and the world's most famous hotels. Success is never a straight line. In 2008, a global financial crisis hit. Property prices in Dubai crashed. projects stopped. The world thought the Dubai dream was over. But Dubai showed its resilience. With support from Abu Dhabi and a focus on reorganizing their economy, they recovered. By 2013, they won the bid to host Expo 2020, proving to the world that they were back and stronger than ever.
When the pandemic hit in 2020, the world stopped. For a city built on travel and tourism, this was a disaster. But Dubai adapted. They became one of the first cities to vaccinate their population, and one of the first to safely reopen for tourists. They used the time to modernize their government, making almost every service available through a smartphone. Dubai is no longer just looking at the land, they are looking at space. In 2021, the UAE's HOPE probe successfully reached Mars. They are planning a Mars Science City in the desert to simulate life on the Red Planet. They are also building the Dubai 2040 Urban Master Plan, which focuses on making the city green, walkable, and sustainable. Why does Dubai matter? Dubai is home to over 200 nationalities. It is a place where a person from India, a person from England, and a person from Brazil can work together in peace. It has one of the lowest crime rates in the world and no income tax. It is a magnet for digital nomads and tech entrepreneurs. The lessons of Dubai. As we finish this story, what can we learn from this city in the sand? 1. Vision is more important than resources. Dubai had very little oil and no water, but they had a clear plan. 2. Take calculated risks. If Sheikh Rashid hadn't dredged the creek or built Jebel Ali, Dubai would still be a small village. 3. Think long-term. Don't just plan for tomorrow, plan for the next generation. 4. Adapt to change. When the pearls failed, they turned to trade. When the oil ran low, they turned to tourism and technology. 5. Unity is strength. The UAE succeeded because the Emiratis worked together. Dubai's story is a reminder that your starting point does not define your destination. Whether you are an individual trying to learn English or a leader trying to build a nation, the rules are the same. Dream big, work hard, and never stop innovating.
If a desert can bloom into a city of gold, imagine what you can do with your own life if you have the right vision. Thank you for listening to the full story of Dubai. Keep practicing your English, keep dreaming, and we will see you in the next story.